Hello, we are here at the Transformational CISO Assembly at the beautiful Bilmore Hotel in Miami. And I'm here today with Nir Gaist of NYOTRON. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
So your company mission is to secure the world. So why do you think companies are hesitant to search for external parties to help secure their databases?
I don't think they're hesitant to, to choose companies to secure their data. I mean, everyone wants to be secured. I think that, especially in the recent years, people just became more sarcastic looking at security stuff just because, we're doing the same thing over and over again for 30 years and still being hacked. So I think that's the problem.
Interesting. So sophisticated attackers, they tend to bypass protection solutions that compromise sensitive data. So what has your company done to prevent damage from these attackers, especially from the point of view of the consumer?
That's a great question, but first of all, just to clarify that consumer is out of our scope currently. We're focusing on enterprises, organizations that are highly regulated and really sensitive to cybersecurity attacks. But basically, the principles are more or less the same. Because hackers are becomes more and more sophisticated, especially again in recent years we are seeing a tremendous growth in sophistication of cybersecurity attacks. But at the same time, you don't see that growth on the defensive side, unfortunately.
Wow. So what are some of the biggest challenges that the industry, I guess, is facing as a whole at this point?
The biggest challenge, that's a great question. So there are tons of challenges, but I think that essentially the challenge is, the core of the problem is that the fact that still we really can't detect unknown threats. We made a long way in developing cooler and cooler technologies, but at the end of the day, they're all still doing the same for 30 years. That's crazy. We're still trying to enumerate all badness in the world. That's what most cybersecurity solutions are doing. This way or another, they're still based on looking at the past and try to, based on that, to secure the future. But you can't, because future threats are much more sophisticated.
So you have to look forward.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, how is GDPR affecting your ability to defend companies from attacks?
So GDPR is a challenge for all of us, right? I mean, I think at the core of GDPR, one of the core challenges for us is to help customers react faster to attacks. So you really have a limited time right now with GDPR that you have to respond to attacks. So you have to get most of the data as quickly as possible. You have to have great visibility to the threat, to the attack, to understand what happened, and you have to really understand exactly what happened immediately. What we do in NYOTRON is really to develop a solution that gives you a great explanation of what happened. We detect attacks by understanding exactly a step-by-step of the attack, and we give it to you visually in a very, very convenient way so you can react immediately.
So what would you say are some of the predictions that you have for cybersecurity? We're heading into 2019. What would you say?
So the easiest is that attacks will be more and more sophisticated. I mean, that's a clear trend. Attackers are unfortunately very smart and very creative. Earlier at 2018, I think we saw the worst cybersecurity issue in history, which was Spectre and Meltdown that people are not talking about enough, although it was really the worst in history. So I think we should expect higher sophistication on that side, and we have to be ready for that.
Yeah. Have to keep our eyes open for that. So what technologies are impacting how NYOTRON looks to help your customers prevent new and unknown threats in their business strategy?
So our technology is based on really the opposite of what most cybersecurity technologies are doing. We're literally doing the opposite. When people are asking us how we're different, we're always saying that we're not just different, we're really doing the opposite. So while all technologies are based on, as I mentioned earlier, understanding all badness in the world, which is infinite by definition, we realize that looking at the operating system, you can actually map all the finite good in the world, which is literally the opposite. So by helping our customers detect every type of threat, regardless of its technique, regardless of the method of the attack, we can really detect all types of threats just by understanding how good things should happen at the operating system level.
Well, we are very happy you're here on site with us as a solution provider. And I'm curious to hear from you, what do you think are some of the benefits of attending a small, intimate program geared towards the C-suites?
That's an awesome question, because RSA and all these big conferences became very challenging, especially for smaller companies. And I think that really these small events are crucial for every cybersecurity company today, because it's much more intimate. You can really have a face-to-face interaction with really interesting customers. So we specifically at NYOTRON try not to miss any of these conferences.
Great. Well, keep coming. Keep coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.